Croc Talk with Chris Croc is brought to you by IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, audits from the IRS, of course, and tax planning strategies. And wouldn't you know it, I have Randy Martin, my title sponsor from IRSprob.com, on the phone with me right now. Randy, there's your beaming, handsome face from your website. You're kind of a big deal around here. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Chris? Nice to be on. Thank you for having me on.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. We're going to get into H1B visas in a second because nobody in person is more passionate as a business owner and a former worker in an industry that's rife with H1B visas. I cannot wait to get into this with you. I do want to say also, coming up after you and I chat, Wylie ISD has been caught red-handed. Islamic handouts, Qurans, hijabs being passed out, and why Sharia law is a good thing. Passed out at Wylie ISD High School. This is busting wide open today. We're at the forefront of it after you and I talk, but can you believe that? I mean, Randy, my gosh. I know that you guys are apolitical with your business, but my gosh, it's insane. Okay, so Randy, tell me why you, as a business owner, IRSprob.com, but as somebody who worked in major industries, you're welcome to. I think you mind if I mention where you worked at? What major?
Yeah, please do.
You worked at TI. You worked at TI. Yeah. Is that where you first saw the harm that H1B visas do?
No, I mean, the first time I saw it was at EDS. Straight out of graduate school, I worked for EDS, Ross Perot's old stomping ground. And there was a lot of H1Bs there. And what they're doing, I mean, it's a no-brainer for businesses. They hire them because it's cheaper. They would much rather hire somebody from a foreign country at a vastly lower wage and get cheaper labor. They're going to have to forego some communication skills. They have the American workers that they can kind of load up on some additional work, because you have these individuals that sometimes are hard to understand. Sometimes they don't get certain things. But we saw them at EDS. There's just a lot of them there.
And EDS, is that an accountancy firm or what?
No, electronic data systems.
Okay.
It was Ross Perot started the company years ago.
Okay.
And so they rest in peace. They're no longer in existence. They were purchased by HP. But then later I saw it at a company called ACS. ACS was in kind of a little bit north of uptown Dallas off of 75. And they did the same type, outsourcing work. And they, of course, would rather hire someone that was an H-1B visa just to get a better deal on the salary.
And what years are we talking? What years is this talking when you started seeing H-1B visas harming us in North Texas specifically, but all over Texas?
Oh, it was prior to 2000. I mean, it wasn't to the extent as much then, but the companies found that they could take advantage of this in that they weren't just looking for rare skill sets anymore. They were because H-1B visas, let's be clear, these are supposed to be, the doctors, the scientists, the ones that we can't find that skill set in the U.S. So they hire it from abroad to get that skill set, and that's not what they're doing at all. Companies knew this. They were all playing the game. High-tech companies especially. We saw a lot of it at Texas Instruments. And this isn't for, you can kind of understand Texas Instruments. Maybe it's for their engineers, these guys that are, extremely well trained in a certain area of, electronic circuits or something. But no, it was quite often in finance and accounting.
Finance and accounting at TI.
Yeah, this is not something.
Finance. How many people graduate? How many people graduate? How many people graduate from the UT in finance?
Yeah, I mean,
gosh.
Hundreds, thousands. From the schools across the state of Texas, all the graduates that they have, and they would pull in as many H-1B visas as they could. I mean, here again, it was cheaper for them. It's a money thing. Also, I'll go on to say that even the engineers, the employing in the H-1B visas for engineers should not be as prevalent as it is, because there's a lot of Americans that will go study engineering if the pay was higher.
Yes.
It seemed like a lot of the Americans that came out with engineering degrees wind up going into sales. Maybe it's high-tech sales, but they weren't going in really using their degree for engineering as such. So yeah, it's been something that has been abused, and I've told you this before. The first time I heard Trump say, I think this is 2017.
Yes.
Trump came out and said, that H1B visa program needs to stop. That's hurting Americans.
Yes.
And I froze in my tracks because I couldn't believe it. I'd never heard a politician say that, because both sides of the political aisle, both Republicans and Democrats, this was their baby. The large corporations were funding their campaigns, and this was their baby. They all promoted the H-1B visa. They all promoted, it was legal immigration, sure. And I'm married to a legal immigrant. My wife came here after we got married. So I'm not opposed to that. But the reason that I'm opposed to the H-1B visas is because it's
stealing jobs. It's stealing jobs.
It hurts Americans. It hurts the American the family economy. Maybe it's good for the general economy, but it did not help American workers.
And I know you're into politics and a bit with your business, but I got to say that I'm personally disappointed in Governor Abbott and Ken Paxton, our attorney generals. Where have you guys been for years? Governor Abbott, you're going to run for, and I'm going to vote for you for your first term. But where the heck were you the first 3 terms? Where were you, Ken Paxton, 2 years ago, 5 years ago? I mean, this is ridiculous that you've now been awoken by journalists like Sarah Gonzalez, for example, and the people at Dallas, Texas Scorecard, and Dallas Express. In fact, I'm going to go into some of the details from this. I want your thoughts on this. The Dallas Express and Sarah Gonzalez went through a public database of H-1B visas in Texas. Texas A&M spent $3.25 million in 5 years between 2020 and now. $3.25 million on H-1B visas for a professor of economics. $165,000 job stolen. We can't find professors of economics at A&M?
Is that's not something that international individuals would have a monopoly on. I mean, economics is taught throughout our country. We have a lot of doctors of economics here that are Americans. They cannot tell me they can't find an American to do that job. That's something some special skill set.
And you graduated from the best accountancy college or university in the state, UT, and they can't find, for example, an accountant. That's freaking enraging. But also, this is you brought this one up to me. A professor of agriculture in the state of Texas. We have H-1B visas for a professor of ag at $95 grand.
Right.
Oh
right.
my!
Like we don't have agriculture. That Americans don't study agriculture. We can't get an American in to do that position. They have to hire somebody from overseas to do that position.
Can you help us? Sense. We're in Texas. We don't have any agriculture.
We don't know what agriculture
Holy
is.
crap. How about this one? Because this is an assistant professor of art, drama, and music at $109,000. We don't have art, drama, and music teachers that we have to go out of the country and get H-1B visas.
And they're paying them $109,000.
I know, right? For kids, this is art, or pupils, or whatever. This is art. Pull on a piece of paper. That's your art. Where's my $109 grand? Okay, music. A professor. No, I'm sorry. At this one, these last two are unbelievable. That Sarah Gonzalez from the Texas Scorecard found. Athletic trainer and graphic designer. Are you kidding me? You can't find an athletic trainer? I got a cousin who got his doctoral degree in that kind of stuff from Northwestern. You can't find somebody from Texas that does this? And a graphic designer. Holy crap! I mean, what do we have, Randy? 500,000? No, we have 200,000 graphic designers, 150,000 graphic designers in the state of Texas alone?
Yeah, I mean, I can find one online pretty quickly.
Yeah, for your business, right? I mean, my gosh. Okay, and then according to data from Texas Scorecard as well, according to data from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, over 41,500 H-1B visa holders are employed in Texas. 41,500 jobs stolen from Texans. That is disgusting. 7,000 last year alone. 7,212 H-1B visas, the second and largest in the entire nation next to California. And I always say, yeah, don't California or Texas. One more thing is, this is crazy too. The number of foreign STEM workers more than doubled between 2000 and 2019, while overall STEM employment grew far more slowly. So they doubled the numbers of foreign STEM workers, while the numbers only grew slowly. So there was no increase for demand. IT. Now, dude, I know the joke is about somebody from India with IT, but there are freaking IT people in America. Are there not?
Right.
Okay,
that
so
is totally true.
Yeah, okay. IT went from 32% H1B in 2003. The share of workers for H1B and IT went from 32% in 2003 to 65% in recent years. It doubled from 32 to 65% IT H1B visa workers in Texas. Some companies laying off thousands of American workers while simultaneously securing approvals for large numbers of H1B visas. I'm just disgusted with it. And Randy, I don't know if you have any final thoughts on that before we get into the tax season, because there's a lot of questions I have and a lot of us have questions about. But any other thoughts on the H-1B visa stuff?
Well, one thing that keeps coming to my mind is, we have the government that just allows the companies to open up the doors. I understand that companies are in competition with others, to where a lot of these companies probably, if they don't do it, their competitors will. And it puts them in a tough situation. But where are the politicians in this? They're the guys they're the ones that should be protecting us. I mean, of course, from any foreign threat, but also economically speaking, the American worker has been the go boy for so many of by these companies. They just use the American worker and abuse them. That hurts our ability to earn more.
Yes.
It hurts our ability to take care of our own families. You look at how the family economy has deteriorated over the years.
Yes.
We went from a country where the man worked and the woman did if she wanted to, but it was more kind of almost a choice.
It was a choice.
A working man could take care of a family with his income. To the situation today for so many people is not like that.
Correct.
And this is why, is because they have sailed us down the river. They've sold us down the river.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of times during these annual reviews that we would have. Matter of fact, I quit during my last annual review. That's when I said, I've had enough of this. I'm out of here.
That's before you launched IRSprob.com. That was your last one?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They would always say, if the company had a bad year, this is what we would always hear. Hey, it's been a rough year. We don't have room for giving a proper raise like you deserve, but this is what we can do. Now, if the company had a good year, they would always say, well, the company had a good year, but that doesn't mean that that's yours. That's just shareholders'
So you're getting screwed both ways.
Right. But this is really, it goes back to the employees had to be price takers. They weren't able to set the price. They had to take whatever price was available.
Yes.
And so that's why you see people that are working in corporate America at jobs that they are putting in, 50 plus hours a week at, but it's far from a livable wage.
So a couple more quick things. I mean, this is Title II funds are now, this is from Dallas Express, school districts, including one large school district in DFW and an employer, appear to have used Title II Part A funds to support H-1B visas, to support the hiring of foreign workers, to literally teach our children. I mean, this is absolutely disgusting. Foreigners to teach our children in one of the largest school districts in North Texas. It's just unforgivable. And they talk about technology, engineering, and science. Why don't these companies pour money into training people and recruiting people that live in this freaking country? And don't tell me that H-1B visa people are keeping the money here that they earned. They're not.
Well, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I know, if you look back when I worked at TI, there was a gentleman that retired. That was an engineer, but he was trained by TI. He came out of high school. I guess he showed a certain aptitude.
There you go.
And they trained him.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
To be an engineer. they don't have that type of program anymore. They look for people that are training. I know that it gets more competitive, but we would like to see more programs like that for companies to train the skill set that they want.
That's exactly what I've been saying about
why
this.
aren't they doing that? If they had to do it, they would do it.
And
the fact is, they don't have to.
And if you put the money into training these folks, then you say, if you work for us for 5 years, you owe us nothing. If you leave before that, it's a sliding scale for percentage. If you get the training and you leave us, something
Sure.
like that is fine with me, where they invest in you and you stick around for a certain time. Last thing is Sarah Gonzalez at the Texas Scorecard also stood in front of what appears to be an abandoned home, a very nice single-family home with Ken Paxton. This is from Blaze TV and Texas Scorecard's personality, Sarah Gonzalez. The company is called 3Bs Technologies. This location that she reported that appeared to be vacant, despite the company's sponsorship of multiple H1B visa holders. Paxton says this business is under investigation. It may have created sham companies featuring websites offering non-existent products or services or advertising them while listing residential homes or unfinished buildings as offices. Dude, are we in freaking Somalia? Are we in Minneapolis? Oh my gosh! So that's the latest on that, and
that's what happens is individuals figure out, okay, well, a company can sponsor somebody to come. Well, what do? Open up a company and sponsor somebody to come. That's the fraud, and they might. What scares me about it, and I haven't investigated it anymore, but they might actually even be following the letter of the law doing so.
Yes, which is where we need the Texas. Yeah, that's what we need the Texas legislature for. All right, let's get into taxes. The government shutdown that just ended, which was stupid because nobody even realized it. That didn't affect our taxes at all, did it?
Right. No, not at all.
I guess I answered the
question. The bummer about this government shutdown is there's still the same amount of traffic on the way into work in the morning. I mean,
we got nothing. Hold on, I got a little.
They took that away from me.
Yeah, we got a little. Hold on, I got a little sound effect for that one. Hold on, we got nothing. Yeah. Where did it go? Hold on, I hit the wrong button here. Of course I did. There we go. We got nothing, Randy. I had to click the damn button too many
Big bag
times.
of nothing.
Yes, yes, exactly. The royal bone, as it were. Okay, tips. Taxes on tips, overhang. I want to just go into this without even looking at any of my notes or any of the articles. They have said over and over again in the media for a month or two now, whether it's because of the Big Beautiful Bill or other things, particularly possibly because of the Big Beautiful Bill, that all of us are supposedly going to see, or a lot of us are going to see bigger refunds this year. Is that really true, or is that hyped? Because I'm sitting here going, does that apply to me too? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think generally on average we will be seeing bigger refunds this year. Probably the same amount of refunds on the whole, but they will be larger. It has a lot to do with the IRS was increasing the withholdings a little bit more on the payroll. So the payroll tables, they were increasing a little bit more of the withholdings, and also really there's been an adjustment for inflation, so the rates have improved a little bit for us versus 2025 versus 2024, and unfortunately wage growth has slowed too. So that's kind of a macro trend, but I'll take all that into account, and there's larger refunds.
Okay, let me ask you this: taxes on tips. How does that affect us in this great state of Texas?
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good deal. But just so everybody understands, and there's some limits on it for people that are making higher income. So if you're a heart surgeon and you're working as a bartender or something like that,
that's what I do. I'm a heart surgeon on the side.
Right. You're probably not going to be able to write off your tips. There's limits to it.
Right. But
that they don't have to pay taxes on the tips, but they do have to pay the Social Security and the Medicare. So heads up on that. I mean, it's I believe that's a tax too, just as much as income tax, and I mean, it's still money coming out of your pocket.
Overtime.
So that will be that still will be applied. You don't get it completely free.
Overtime tax deductions.
Overtime tax deductions. This is the one that's kind of a little bit of a bummer. I mean, the politicians got a hold of it and I think kind of gutted it a little bit. So you're not having to pay tax on the overtime amount. Overtime's time and a half. so that in a half, you don't have to pay tax on it. But once again, you're paying, the Social Security and the Medicare tax on it, the FICA tax on it. So yeah, great. You get help, but it's not as good as it sounds.
Child tax credit increase.
Yeah, no, that's a good helper right there for folks with kiddos. I love the child tax credit because it is an actual credit. It dollar for dollar reduces the amount of your taxes.
But it doesn't apply to me because mine are 19 and 22. Yeah, is that accurate?
Yeah, over the age of 17,
I'm
it
screwed!
doesn't help you anymore. You still get if they're dependents on your return, you still get a $500 credit.
They still are.
So I mean, that's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
I'll take that over a sharp stick in the eye. Wow. Yeah. Standard
that was your other choice.
Standard deduction. I'll take the first one. Standard deduction increase.
Yeah, I mean that helps. It just lowers the amount of. So you go in there with your total income, and the standard deduction decreases it to your taxable income, and so you're paying tax on your tax rates applied to a lower amount of income. So yeah, sure, it helps.
Tax refunds may be $1,000 higher on average. White House says. True, false?
I think that's true. I think that's true. Yeah, we should see it around that.
Okay, and I know you do my taxes, my tax planning for my business, me, my wife. So if I don't get the 1,000, obviously you're going to spot me the 1,000, right?
Yeah, man. You don't have to worry about that. It'll be there.
I'm missing a zero, Randy. What happened here? Okay, and then will we get the $2,000 tariff checks this tax season? I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, don't bet on that. It doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. It's just so difficult to be able to put that together. And I'm not seeing that. They gave that to the soldiers.
Yes.
But I don't see it going out to the general public.
Randy Martin, IRSprob.com. Appreciate you very much for joining me on the Croc Talk with Chris Croc podcast. Thank you very much, my friend.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me on the air.
Always a pleasure. Man. Take care, brother. Talk to you soon. See you at the office. All right. There he goes, Randy Martin from IRSprob.com. And absolutely fantastic stuff here on the Croc Talk with Chris Croc. Thanks, Randy. Good stuff. This is insane. Wylie ISD is this is insanity. This is crazy what just happened there. Wylie ISD, when I saw this yesterday, Sarah Gonzalez tweeted this out, and I could not believe it was real, but it is. The head of the Republican club, it's a newly established club at Wylie High School, Wylie East High School, said that Muslim girls and Muslims had a table set up at Wylie ISD, Wylie East, that said, "Why Islam?" And it had Qurans to hand out in pamphlets called Understanding Sharia. They're freaking trying, and they were passing out hijabs to girls. They want to put your daughter in a hijab and send her with a Quran and why Sharia law is good. This is the new Marxist leftist merger between radical Islam and leftist Marxism. And what they want to do is get your daughter covered up and reading the Quran and saying that Sharia law is a great thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. I love covering myself up and hiding myself. I can't believe this. I did not believe this is true. I'm going to show you the video because it's so insane that this ever has happened. This is the president or head of the young, recently formed Wylie East High School Republican Student Club. This is all being reported by Texas Scorecard today. And here he is exposing this story. I imagine he just walked down the hall and said, "Oh my gosh, what is this? There's girls at Wylie East High School in hijabs with a booth passing out Qurans and saying, 'Why Islam?'" Let me just play this for you. This is absolutely incredible. And I thought this was fake. I just literally had to wait on it for 24 hours because I was like, this can't be true.
Okay, so I'm Marco. I'm the president of the high school Republicans at Wylie East High School. And today there was an organization called Why Islam, and they were giving hijabs to Muslim girls out throughout the high school, and they were giving out Qurans, and they also had pamphlets about Sharia law and other Islamic things, and they were giving out these bags. And I had a discussion with the women that were there, and we're trying to understand what's going on.
And it was during the school day, right?
Yes, it was during lunch.
during lunch.
And we typically have colleges come out, or we have our clubs have tables, but we've never had a faith group, to my understanding.
I literally could not believe this. I could not believe this. I want to say this again. Wylie East High School. I literally cannot freaking believe this. Do you think that your son or daughter's high school, whether it be in North Texas or anywhere else in the country, do you think your son or daughter would be allowed to have a table at lunch and pass out Bibles and say, "Why Jesus?" and pass out crucifixes? Could you imagine that in the middle of lunch? They were allowed to do that at Wylie East. The Islamization of America is happening right in front of us in a conservative red state as Texas. Let me read this. It's unthinkable. This is unfreaking thinkable. I'm in shock. I'm disgusted. And I think about how they want to put your daughter behind a freaking mask in the darkness. And they want your daughter to think that Sharia is cool. Have you seen... Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this too. From Texas Scorecard, you're not going to believe this. Wylie East principal. The Wylie East principal where this happened. This is not a freaking coincidence. The Wylie East principal in 2025 in February, literally a year ago, literally 1 year ago to today. Wylie East principal Tiffany Doolin posted an image on Instagram of herself wearing a hijab on campus, wearing a hijab as part of World Hijab Day, a celebration organized by Muslim Student Association, who they believe is the one who did this yesterday. The freaking principal at Wylie East, Tiffany Doolin, posted an image of herself on Instagram wearing a hijab on campus as part of World Hijab Day, celebration organized by Muslim Student Association, and she tweeted, she Instagrammed, "I loved," in all caps, this experience. She loved being cloaked in Islam, hiding her beauty or ugliness, I don't know what she looks like, and I don't care, and saying, "Come on, your daughter or my son or your son, come on, put a hijab on. You'll love this. Cloak your face, hide your beauty for Islam," which I'm not trying to be nasty or mean, but is a false religion. Holy gosh. Holy gosh. Wylie ISD has responded to public outrage over Islamic material, says Texas Scorecard, including pamphlets on Sharia law being distributed on a high school campus. On Monday, a group called Why Islam set up a table in a common area inside Wylie East School during lunchtime. Wylie East High School. The group was handing out copies of the Quran, pamphlets on understanding Sharia, as well as offering hijabs to female students. So it's here. Islam is here in your daughter and your son's high school, and is telling her Sharia is good, and wear a hijab and cover up your beauty for Islam. Marco Hunter Lopez, who you saw in that picture, president of the recently formed Wylie East High School Republican Student Club. We typically have colleges come out. We have our clubs. You know, the Republican club is what he's a part of, the Democrat club. We have tables. We've never had a faith group, to my understanding, said Marco. In a statement sent to Wylie East families Tuesday morning, district officials took, quote, full responsibility for the incident. If proper protocols had been followed, this incident would not have occurred, they said. We take that very seriously. Fire whoever did this. And by the way, if it's Wylie East principal Tiffany Doolin, who put a freaking hijab on and said she loved this experience last year, a year to today, fire her. She doesn't need sensitivity training. Fire her. Fire that woman if she's the principal. I'm going to look it up right now. Principal of Wylie East High School. Let's see. Let's see who the principal of Wylie East High School is. Wylie East High School. Let's see who it is. Let's see who it is. Pulling it up right now. Who is the principal at Wylie East? Holy cow. It's Miss Tiffany freaking Doolin. Fire Tiffany Doolin right now, who says hijabs are awesome, and under her leadership a year later, so a year ago she puts hijab on, this is awesome, and now she has girls the same freaking month a year later. To me, this is totally who she is, and what she wants to do is put your freaking daughter, have your daughter worship Allah, put a Quran on, and wrap herself up and hide her beauty, and think about how awesome Sharia law is in a Texas school. District protocols were not followed, says Wylie ISD. Failure to follow established protocols without prior approval. Oh, I want all the records of Miss Tiffany Doolin, Tiffany Doolin, the principal. Did she do this? Did she approve of this? How much you want to bet? I don't know. How much you want to bet, though? I'm watching. I'm going to have to reach out to these kids over at Wylie East, because this is insanity. Only students who have signed without prior approval. This happened. Only students who have signed, and I believe, how much you want to bet that principal knew about it? Only students who have signed parent permission forms are allowed to be involved in anything in this realm. The organization did not have permission to distribute materials. They did not receive approval to speak with students outside of the club, and the club did not submit the request to a guest speaker request form. Wow. The statement did not identify which student club, although the school has a Muslim student association, but no staff sponsor is listed. I'm not surprised. Maybe it's Miss Tiffany Doolin, the principal, who, as I mentioned, in February of last year, 1 year ago today roughly, she put on a hijab on World Hijab Day and said, I love this experience. When is World Hijab Day? That's the next thing I want to know. When is World Hijab Day? 2026. How much you want to bet it was? Holy freaking cow. Busted. It was Sunday. And so this happened on Monday. This is not a coincidence in my book. This is a total, absolute, incredible timing of events. 1 year from when this principal did this happens. Do you honestly think that's a coincidence? I certainly don't. I sure as heck don't. Wow. This is insanity. Wylie East High School, the Islamization of your public schools in a red state named Texas. A parent in Wylie ISD, here's what one parent said about this. This parent is a man named Michael Schwerin. As a parent at Wylie ISD, I can guarantee that they are trying to let it blow over. Teachers and staff have been told to remove Bibles and crosses from their offices and classrooms, but this is okay. Many also questioned how members of Why Islam were able to pass through the school's front office check-in system with boxes of materials. I wonder if it's Miss Tiffany Doolin, the principal. Why was she allowed to go past the school's front office check-in system with boxes of materials and then go to unobserved by any adults on campus at their table as it was set up in a busy area near school and cafeteria? I'm not sure which is worse, said parent Schwerin. Either they're lying to us or this group got into the school. All right, we're going to be. I'm going to be contacting the principal. I'm going to contact this father. I'm going to contact that kid. That's insanity. That is absolutely. Well, let's play this kid again. You got to hear this if you missed it. Head of the Republican Club in Wylie East High School, showing us the Quran, why Sharia law pamphlet and Islamic materials passed out in the middle of lunch at a table.
Okay, so I'm Marco. I'm the president of the high school Republicans at Wylie East High School. And today there was an organization called Why Islam, and they were giving hijabs to girls out throughout the high school, and they were giving out Qurans, and they also had pamphlets about Sharia law and other Islamic things, and they were giving out these bags. And I had a discussion with the women that were there, and we're trying to understand what's going on.
And it was during the school day, right?
Yes, it was during lunch.
During lunch.
And we typically have colleges come out, where we have our clubs have tables, but we've never had a faith group, to my understanding.
Absolute insanity. I am putting my money on it being Miss Tiffany Doolin, the principal. Fire her butt now. Wow. I need to check. I might have an in-law that goes to that high school. Wow. Speaking of schools and corrupting our kids, Governor Greg Abbott tweeted this out about Kyle. Let me show you what happened. This reportedly was at Kyle ISD, according to Governor Abbott. Watch this. This fight happened in one of our schools. I believe it might be in Kyle ISD. But let me play it for you. That is actually reportedly Hayes, Texas, for my friend Carlos Tercios, Republican young leader and activist. He says it's Hayes Consolidated School District where this happened. Students savagely attacked a teacher during an ICE protest. My friend Carlos says, why on earth are students being allowed to protest ICE and support violent illegal aliens? Hayes High School, Hayes Consolidated School District, Hayes, Texas. What is going on in our schools, Governor Abbott? What are you going to do about this, Governor Abbott? Ken Paxton, what are you going to do about this? Who are you going to prosecute for this? You're going to arrest and charge those punks, those violent criminal punks who don't know a damn thing about education, most likely? Let me also play you this. This is, I showed you this yesterday, not play you, but let me show you this picture. That is Austin ISD. This is reportedly a picture of a vice principal in Austin ISD Austin ISD Lively Middle School allowing a walkout, and there appears to be the assistant principal. This is from the folks over at Texas Scorecard. Look at that. Walking with the kids. Let me share this with you. This happened, of course, in the ICE walkout Friday, and now Governor Greg Abbott and the TEA are going to be investigating this, as is Attorney General Ken Paxton. Second of all, I have this also from Governor Abbott regarding Kyle. 2 students were arrested during a school walkout in Kyle. Arrests were unrelated to the demonstration, reports the Kyle Police Department. They saw a minor in possession of alcohol. 1 juvenile was charged with assault on a public servant, resisting arrest, and resisting arrest, interfering with public duties, consumption, and possession of alcohol by a minor. The other juvenile was charged with resisting arrest, interfering with public duties. We're aware of concerns that it was related to the walkout activities. They claim it's unrelated. Governor Greg Abbott said today on Twitter a couple hours ago, it's about time students like this were arrested. Harming somebody is a crime even for students. Disruptive walkouts allowed by schools lead to just this kind of chaos. Students and staff who allow this behavior should be treated as co-conspirators and should not be immune from criminal behavior. We're also looking into stripping the funding of schools that abandon their duty to teach our kids the curriculum required by law. More to come. But why don't you go after Hayes ISD, as I mentioned from Carlos Tercios? Why don't you go after Wylie ISD for what they're doing and that principal that appears to be possibly related to this case from the year before as well? This is absolute craziness. Now, also, I played this for you yesterday, but it ties into why you don't let students protest. This happened in Nebraska yesterday. Here's a student that was protesting for ICE, but doesn't know her, according to her mom, basically. Her mom didn't say this, but I'll just say it. Her mom basically says she doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to protesting ICE or what it's all about. But here she is running towards a car and getting run over and knocked to the ground. There's no audio on this, but there's video, so you can see the video there. Look at that. I'm going to go back again. so you can see this. See the arrow there? There she is running and running and running, and then boom, she's knocked it over by that car, running towards the car with the Trump flag. The mom of that girl is super pissed, not at the people driving. Mom of that girl is super pissed at the school, saying, my daughter doesn't know anything about what she's protesting about. How dare you let her out? And it's your fault that she's injured. That is a responsible parent right there. Now, and let me also tell you this. This show is brought to you by IRSprob.com. Randy Martin is the CPA in charge, and it's his company, IRSprob.com. They do not only, they help good people with IRS problems, they also do tax planning for your businesses or personal tax planning for you or helping you with IRS problems personally. They specialize in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Randy has been my CPA and tax planner for my business and my personal, for me and my wife and our businesses and our personal taxes, and even my kids for like 8 years now. So go to IRSprob.com, and yes, if you are outside of Texas, he does that too. So like my parents in Chicago can use him if they want to. You can use them if you're anywhere in the country, and I really, really, really highly recommend them. I know Randy's entire staff, and I have for about 7 or 8 years since he started being my tax person. Before that, I knew him because we went to Sunday school together at First Baptist Dallas. How cool is that? So Randy Martin, IRSprob.com. All right, use him. He's my title sponsor. The way to attack and win as a Democrat, to attack and win in Christianity or in arguments about the Bible or with illegal immigrants or abortion, the only way that a Democrat can use our faith as Christians, I'm a Christian, the only way that Democrats can use that against us is for us to remain ignorant of the Bible. Oh, by the way, Q-Town Dude chimes in, and you can comment, too, on YouTube, on Rumble. You can chime in live. I get those. I don't know if I get everybody else from the other ones. So if you follow me on Rumble and YouTube, at Chris Crock Show, that's at Chris Crock Show. Excuse me, no. On Rumble, it's at Crock Talk, Krokta. Okay, that's Crock Talk. It's right here. I'll put it up on the graphic on the screen here. Q-Town Dude says, if you chime in on one of those two right there in the bottom of the screen, then I will see it live. So Q-Town Dude says, it's disgusting. Please tell me this is not in Texas. It is in Texas. Was it allowed during school hours? Yes. Putting the kids in danger? Yes. Everyone I mentioned, except for the Nebraska one at the end, was all in Texas. And then remember, if you didn't catch the Wylie East High School, Wylie ISD, allowing Islamic girls to pass out Qurans, as well as why Sharia law is cool, and passing out Qurans and hijabs for girls in Wylie East High School, in Wylie ISD, that was broken open big time yesterday. The media is just starting to catch it tonight. But we got it here, and Sarah Gonzalez from The Blaze got it first. The Young Republican Club in East Wylie High School. And that principal from East Wylie High School, I'm going back, but Miss Tiffany Doolin, literally 1 year ago today on National Hijab Day, she wore a hijab and said how it was absolutely awesome and so cool. And she posted it on Instagram. And you're telling me that she didn't know that these Islamic girls set up a table and were passing out how Sharia law is cool, Qurans and hijabs to your girls to cloak them in darkness, and tell them why putting themselves in chains like slaves and cattle like in Islamic countries is a good thing? How much you want to bet? I don't know, but how much? And everybody's saying, how did this get in here? No one's allowed to come in and proselytize in our school. How much you want to bet Miss Tiffany Dolan, who loves putting a hijab on and worships Islamists apparently, or Islam at least, loves it at least, humps the leg of Islam and bows down to it, how much you want to bet she knew about this? I don't know if she did. I'm not saying she did, but how much you want to bet? She did this exactly on World Hijab Day, and World Hijab Day fell on a Sunday, meaning Monday was the day to do it. How much you want to freaking bet? So, yes, and exactly right, Q-Town, dude. They would lose their minds if They would lose their minds if we were passing out Bibles. Our kids were passing out Bibles and crosses in that high school. Holy crap. Again, if you want to chime in live in real time and comment, I'll see it. Just do it right there at the bottom of the screen with my addresses there. Okay, the birth of Jesus foretold. So if you want a Democrat to use faith, to use our Christian faith, and to win in the public forum, the key to Democrats winning and using Scripture and lying about how illegals are biblically okay and illegal immigration is okay, ICE is bad biblically and ICE out is biblical. The only way that they can win in that is if you let them. And how do you let them win? By not knowing the Bible. The key to people like James Talarico telling lies and bastardizing Scripture for his, and by the way, you're free to do that. God will take care of you after you pass away. You're free to lie to people and say the Bible says abortion's okay, like Talarico says. The Bible says that illegal immigration is okay, like Talarico does. The key is you have to not know the Bible. Now, if you're not a Christian, I understand it's not, whatever, but I'm just telling you, the way for James Talarico and all the Democrats that use the Bible and to win on their arguments is for you not to know. So if you're a Christian, you claim to be a Christian, and you don't know the Bible, that's where the Democrats want you. They want you right there not knowing what the heck you're talking about and what they're talking about, so you can't have a good debate and win with Scripture. Here is James Talarico lying and saying that Mary... God is pro-choice because the Virgin Mary was given a choice. Listen to this fool, and I have the Scripture right here and highlighted because this guy is full of crap, and Joe Rogan apparently doesn't know, so he's like, well, I think he likes James Talarico. Oh, yeah, I like you. Blow some more smoke up my butt, James. Here's James Talarico apparently on Joe Rogan saying how God supports abortion and choice. Whether to kill a baby.
So in context of abortion, because before God comes over Mary and we have the incarnation, God asks for Mary's consent, which is remarkable. I mean, go back and read this in Luke. I mean, the angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do. And she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories that creation has to be done with consent. You cannot force someone to create. Creation is one of the most sacred acts that we engage in as human beings, but that has to be done with consent. It has to be done with freedom, and to me, that is absolutely consistent with the ministry and life and death of Jesus. And so that's how I come down on that side of the issue.
He's a liar and or a fool or both. Remember, if you don't know the Bible, people like that get away with it and look like they know what they're talking about. And a bunch of ignorant fools go, oh. Now, it's one thing if liberals and Democrats say, he's great, he preaches the Bible. They don't know what they're talking about. Remember, their religion is politics. Remember what I told you about? I go to First Baptist Dallas. I'm so proud to say that. Dr. Robert Jeffers was one of my first guests on my podcast. Hey, Mark Davis, by the way, who's another strong believer, is coming on my podcast tomorrow at 4:30. Don't miss that. Mark Davis. We're going to talk about how he lost that Texas 9 seat in Tarrant County. I think his insight on that was very good. That's why I chose to have my friend on tomorrow. So don't miss that. Mark Davis from 660. The Answer is coming on tomorrow. I filled in for him before there and probably will be doing more in the near future. But I have the Scripture on James Talarico, and he's totally lying, or he's ignorant and a buffoon and a fool, or both. I pulled out the whole section from the Scripture. This is Luke. He said, look in Luke, and I did. Luke 26 verse Luke 1. Excuse me, Luke, I didn't put the chapter. It's Luke 31:1, I think. Here, I got it right here. Boom. Luke 1, verses 26 through 38. The birth of Jesus foretold. Here we go. And again, you have to not know the Bible for James Talarico to win. In the 6 months of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her. James says the angel asked her. He did not ask her. There was absolutely no asking. He was telling her. The angel went to her, Mary, and said, "Greetings, you are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Mary was greatly troubled at his words. Holy crap, what's going on? And wondered what kind of, do you like my reenactment here? But the angel said, Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. The angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and I'll start over. You will conceive, not will you conceive. James is lying. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus." He's not asking. All right? You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants forever. His kingdom will never end. Amen. "How will this be?" Mary asks the angel, "since I am a virgin?" Notice she's not given a choice here. She's being told, you will, he will. The angel answered, "The Holy Spirit will," no choice, "the Holy Spirit will come on you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you." I'm not hearing her getting a choice. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God. Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her own age, and she, who was said to be unable to conceive, is in her 6th month, for no word from God will ever fail. Amen. His word never returns void, says Isaiah 55, I think 55, 56. But hold on. Even Elizabeth is not asked. Elizabeth is not asked, "Elizabeth, do you want to have a baby?" I know she wanted one, but she's not asked. It's just done. The Holy Spirit is not asking Mary. It's just done. And do you think she wanted to have a baby out of wedlock? Do you think Joseph wanted to have a baby out of wedlock? Are you kidding me? What woman who would be stoned to death if Joseph, in this time, what woman who would be stoned to death if it was learned that she was pregnant out of wedlock with Joseph, betrothed to Joseph? She would be stoned, he would be shunned, and she would be shunned. It was a crime, basically, for her to do that. There's a couple more lines. I'm going to play James Talarico again just so you can see how much of a liar or incompetent fool or both that he is. "Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her old age, and she, who was said to be unable to conceive, is in her 6th month, for no word from God will ever fail." In other words, you don't have a choice in this. And then last, what does Mary say? She's not given a choice. She says, "I am the Lord's servant." Mary answered, "May your word be fulfilled." Then the angel left her. There's no consent. There's no ask. She is told over and over and over again. Don't believe me? I use Bible Gateway online. There's a Bible Gateway app and everything, too. I think it's the Bible Gateway app. Holy Bible app, I think it is. I have here. Second page, the Holy Bible. Boom, boom, boom. Well, now it went bye-bye. That's nice. Holy Bible app is right there. And it goes bye-bye when the light goes on. That's interesting. Anyways. Let's play James Talarico to see how much of a liar or fool he is. Or both.
But I say all this in terms in context of abortion because before God comes over Mary and we have the incarnation, God asks for Mary's consent, which is remarkable. I mean, go back and read this in
Did you hear anything about consent? I read it. By the way, that's the NIV version, New International Version. It doesn't matter which version you read unless you have some woke version that I'm not aware of. I'm sure there is woke versions. But the one I read from the Bible Gateway has like 30 translations. I mean, maybe even 40. I have no idea. I scroll through them all. Okay, here we go.
Luke. I mean, the angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do.
Did you hear him ask her? I read it to you. No.
And she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories that creation has to be done with consent. You cannot force someone to create. Creation is one of the most sacred acts that we engage in as human beings.
The Holy Spirit forced her, and God forced her to have a baby, whether she wanted it or not. It was there.
But that has to be done with consent. It has to be done with freedom. And to me, that is absolutely consistent with the ministry and life and death of Jesus.
God says in his word, "For I knew you before I knitted you in your mother's womb." Think of that. For I knew you before I knitted you in your mother's womb. I knew you before you were even put in your mom's womb. And this guy tells you that you have a choice to kill that baby in your womb, that God knew that baby before he was in the womb. It's a sick thing to distort and twist the Bible. And I don't think he's stupid. And I don't think it's because he's woke. I think it's because he's a liar. And I'm not trying to be nasty. As you can tell, I'm trying to keep my tone. He's a liar. He knows what he's doing. He's smart. He's a liar. But remember what I played for you yesterday? He called Colin Allred a mediocre black candidate or whatever, mediocre black man. And so this woke chick that was supporting him came out, and I played it for you yesterday, and she came out and said that she had to chew on it more and more. She met him in Plano at some event. She's a Dallas lady, a black woke lady. And so she met him and supported him in Plano at some event, and he told her that. He's like, I didn't sign up, is what she said. I'm paraphrasing it, but he said to her, this black woke woman who's well-connected Democrat advisor or whatever, who came out with this on TikTok yesterday and it blew up. I played it for you yesterday in yesterday's podcast if you missed it. But he told her, I didn't sign up to be fighting or whatever, competing with an intelligent black woman, meaning Jasmine Crockett, which that's funny right there. She's not stupid, I know that. He said, I didn't sign up to be competing with an intelligent black woman. I signed up to be, competing with a mediocre black man. And then Colin Allred kicked his ass in a verbal response on social media yesterday. I played that for you too in yesterday's podcast. So I think his goose is cooked with the left. I could be wrong. Oh, but he is. You know why? The black vote is insanely essential for any Democrat to win, isn't it? And there's a high black population. I don't know about rural Texas. I don't know rural Texas, but there's a high black population in Dallas-Fort Worth. There's a high black population in Austin. Maybe not Austin, but white liberals. And in Houston, huge black populations. He's screwed. I think he's screwed now because he's going to probably get he's going to be like a Kamala Harris, even though Kamala supposedly is black, half black, right? He's going to get worse than Kamala Harris with the black vote now. And he's like, and then when he got caught and went public, he's like, I know there's a lot of racial pain. I don't mean to do the dance. Oh, I care about black people. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, Captain Woke. What else do I have for you? Let's see here. Oh, a black man who works for ICE in Minneapolis. Gets confronted by these crazy ICE out leftist woke jerks that attack our ICE officers and stuff. One of them is transgender guy is arguing with the guy from ICE, and he says, "Are you a girl?" And the transgender guy turns around a few seconds later and calls him an N-word. Rips off the Band-Aid and calls him an N-word. Here it is. Listen closely, and I'll have to probably pause it and go back again because it happens pretty quickly, but he calls him an N-word.
Yeah, families should be ripped apart. Is that kind of your energy? Like we should rip people apart from their families?
Are you a man?
Wow, is that a question?
Wow.
Okay. How do you feel about ripping people from their families? Does that feel good?
Fucking house nigga here. Sir, I need to move. Fucking house nigga, where's you put the fucking cake?
Did you hear that? A house N-word. House N-word. I'm going to bring it back a little bit. and then we'll play it for you again. He says house N-word.
Does that feel good?
Fucking house nigga in here. Sir, I need to move. Fucking house nigga working for the fucking KKK.
House N-word, what are you, KKK? I'll bring it back one more time. You can hear it. It's right there. And that's because he said, what are you, a girl? So I'll bring it back to the girl part. And they can't, their minds are actually, they're not blown. If you're black and you don't agree with them, a white elite liberal, radical leftist Marxist will call a black man an N-word and think they're okay.
That kind of energy, where we should rip people apart from their families.
Are you a man?
Wow.
Wow, is that a question?
Wow.
Okay. How do you feel about ripping people from their families? Does that feel good?
Fucking house nigga in here. Sir, I need to move. Fucking house nigga working for the fucking KKK.
What the fuck's wrong with you people? Why are you calling a woman a man? I mean, what kind of a guy does that?
He said, what the F is wrong with you people? The black guy, ice guy. He gives them the finger. Let's go on.
A warning for what, sir? A warning for what?
Warning to quit following our vehicle.
Because?
Because we're conducting law enforcement operations.
Yes, and we're allowed to film you doing those law enforcement operations. We still have a First Amendment, sir. We are not impeding your operations. We're merely filming them.
All right, whatever, you miserable woman, Karen. I told you this, and if you didn't catch it in one of my previous podcasts, there's video of them doing that and pulling over somebody and saying stop following us. And the Karen that he's talking to, and she's being all nasty. She's probably in her mid 50s. The Karen on her, as the cop's talking, on her passenger seat is a box, and the box is adult diapers. These people, these crazed women, are wearing adult diapers so they can follow ICE and never stop to go to the bathroom. These are some freaking bat bleep crazy people. And now, talking about victimizations, remember this line from yesterday that I told you in yesterday's podcast. Don Lemon, you cannot take my First Amendment right to worship away by using your First Amendment supposed right to the press. You cannot remove my First Amendment by exercising your First Amendment. You cannot do that. It's literally saying my First Amendment right as a member of the press, allegedly, allows me to go in and interrupt your First Amendment right to worship. Nobody thinks it works that way. It's completely false and it's illegal. And I thank God that Don Lemon was frog marched and arrested at midnight out of his hotel room. Here he is crying, and it's very, very true. He got a standing ovation at the Grammys. You guys know this, and I know this. This is the highest Don Lemon has ever soared. He is so glad he did this. He is such a quote unquote victim. I don't think he is, but he thinks he is, and he's just getting his leg humped everywhere he goes. This is the best. He's reached his zenith. And he is so happy, I know he is, that he did this. But we'll see how it plays out for him. But here he is on Kimmel, being worshipped and adulated.
Walking up to the room, and I press the elevator button, and all of a sudden I feel myself being jostled, and people trying to grab me and put me in handcuffs. And I said, "What are you doing here?" And they said, "We came to arrest you." And I said, "Well, who are you?" And then finally they identified themselves. And I said, "If you are who you are, then where's the warrant?" And they didn't have a warrant. So they had to wait for someone from outside, an FBI guy, to come in.
Sorry about that.
To show me a warrant on a cell phone. And by that time, I was trying to, figure out what was going on to get my bearings, and they dropped all my stuff. My glasses had fallen on the floor. I'm like, I can't read that. So they had to pick my glasses up, and I read it, and still, what does that mean? And then there was a bunch of guys, and they took me outside. FBI guys were out there. I mean, it had to be maybe a dozen people.
Oh, like with the Catholic guy who was peacefully praying and or peacefully protesting with his son in front of an abortion clinic, like the Catholic guy who had 12 people with AR-15 rifles show up at his door to arrest him while he was homeschooling his children, the Catholic peaceful guy? Yeah, like that, Don?
It's a waste, Jimmy, of resources, because I had told them weeks before, and maybe once or twice, that we would, I think my attorney tried to contact them once, maybe twice, that I could just go in and it would have to be the folks who are just working there that day, and they wouldn't have to have all these people following me around.
It's more than just a waste of resources. So they grab you and they take you where?
Well, you're right about more than just a waste of resources. They want that. They want to embarrass you. They want to intimidate you. They want to instill fear, and so that's why they did it.
Oh, intimidate you and instill fear like you did to the children? I read you the charging documents yesterday. A woman broke her arm trying to run out of the office, being terrorized, thinking there was a school shooting. A child said he thought that this was about to be a school shooting, that he was about to be shot. Parents were blocked and screamed at while they tried to go to the child care center and remove their children. They were not allowed by these terrorists. Don Lemon blocked the front entrance. It wouldn't let people get out. He admitted as children and parents were running out, hugging their children on the outside of the church, that he said they're traumatized and they're frightened, but that's what needs to happen. Don Lemon was a terrorist on that day, and so were all of his members. They screamed at the children and said, your parents worship the devil, and your parents are going to burn in hell, in their own church while they were worshiping, just as the pastor was starting to preach. That's terrorism. That is the exact same that happened to black churches in the 50s and 60s as they were terrorized by the KKK. How's this for you? Do you think Don Lemon and the Democrats would be okay with the KKK or the Proud Boys storming into a black church and terrorizing them like this? Because it's the exact same thing. If they disagree with a black church, which I would never support that, but if they stormed and terrorized a black church and screamed stuff like that at them because they were against them as members of the KKK or the Proud Boys, would that be okay? It's not okay for anybody to do this. And I mentioned this yesterday on the air in Des Moines where I was on WHO radio and then on my podcast yesterday. I mentioned this yesterday that when the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, the fake Reverend Jeremiah Wright, who supposedly led our former President President Hussein Obama to Jesus, supposedly, who was caught on tape, at a sermon saying, "Na na na, na na na, GD America, the chickens have come home to roost." Hussein Obama eventually disowned him, even though that guy supposedly led him Christ. And he was approached months into the Hussein Obama administration, the first year, and he was approached by a black journalist, and Jeremiah Wright probably thought the black journalist was on his side because he's black, and so he said, why aren't they letting you talk to Obama at the White House? And he said, them Jews won't let me talk to him, them Jews. Hey, Jeremiah Wright, you're supposed to be a reverend or a man of God. Jews are God's chosen people. It's in the Bible. Anti-Semitism, God says, here's why we know this to be true. God says in his word, and don't listen to James Talarico on this. God's word says that if you bless Israel, I will bless you. If you curse Israel, I will curse you. Anyway, that race hustler, Jeremiah Wright, and false preacher was coming to Macon, Georgia to preach after all that happened. And I led a boycott of that. And what did I do? I got a permit, and I went with the law told me I could go on the sidewalk as people were driving into the church parking lot. But I was on the sidewalk. I had a permit. I did it lawfully. I did not march into a church on private property. I didn't go onto their parking lot like they did. I did not bust into their church and terrorize their people. I never would have. So this is not difficult. This is common sense. Hey, ICE is having a mega facility. I told you about this in yesterday's podcast. I love it. It's a mega facility. It makes me think about Cartman from Cartman. Mega Man, or whatever it was they talked about. We're having a mega facility. It's going to be the largest, biggest ICE holding facility jail in the entire country. In Hutchins, Texas, which is 10 miles south of Dallas. Fox 4 says it's 15 miles southeast of downtown. and they're panicking. Let me play the story from Fox 4. Here's a little bit of Fox 4. No video on this one, just audio, but it's well worth it. People are all mad. They're angry. By the way, 10,000 people or 10,500 people going to be held in this mega facility. It's more than the town of Hutchins, which I love.
At last night's city council meeting, during the public comment period, a number of Hutchins residents voiced their opposition to locating the facility in their town. One man urging the council to use every legal method to keep it from happening.
It's just hard to believe that there's a possibility of us getting a detention center here that is supposed to house over 10,000 migrants. We don't even have that many people in the city of Hutchins. We're literally treating them like livestock and animals. We cannot stand for that.
I love that. It's a great line.
Possibility of us getting a detention center here that is supposed to house over 10,000 migrants. We don't even have that many people in the city of Hutchins. We're literally treating them like livestock and animals. We cannot stand for that.
This is a moral issue. A moral issue because ICE is not following the principles of right and wrong behavior.
As of today,
this is the mayor.
City has not received any official information confirming these reports.
He's all mad that they haven't received anything. Guess what? Why don't you ask Joe Biden? Did he ask permission? Do you remember this? Joe Biden put up places and facilities to hold his millions and millions of illegals that he invaded with us. Criminals, violent people, child rapists, murderers, all that stuff. He put up these places that nobody approved, nobody wanted, because the feds can do that. He flew people in the cover of darkness into municipal airports that did not give him permission in conservative communities just outside of Manhattan, if you recall. So, yeah, why don't you ask Joe Biden, how did that go? Enjoy. The only time that you're going to win in this argument is, and that's, by the way, Fox 4 again. I want to give them the credit due for that. Thank you, guys. But the only time you're going to win in that is if you're in Martha's Vineyard, because then you can deport they ass out. Yes, they ass. You can deport they ass out by getting the military to come in with guns and deuce and a halves and get them out of there at gunpoint. What else do I have? I have, those illegals I played you the audio and video for that were shooting up our bridge, the Dallas Bridge there up at downtown on I-30. They have also faced the illegal. There's 2 out of 3 of them were illegal, shooting those automatic and semi-automatic rifles off. They got the guns. They got a whole bunch of other ones, a 38 caliber pistol, 9mm caliber pistol, 9mm caliber, you don't say that, 38 a 9mm, 5.56 caliber AR. You don't say caliber. Someone needs to talk to Max Shaw, the journalist here. It's 5.56 223. I got an AR-15 that shoots M&P Shield, Smith & Wesson, a 5.56 or 223. Anyways, they got a 5.56 caliber AR, 5.56 AR-15. That's really stupid to say 5.56. You just say an AR-15. One of the AR-15 pistols has been linked to the casings near the bridge. So the 2 illegals will be deported, but they charged federal gun charges against one of the illegals. Those sick bastards thought they could go to our bridge right by our downtown and fire that off on New Year's Eve. And I played you the video. It's insane. I was insane. One of those 2 illegals was arrested and was charged for shooting at a car, bullets into a car with a family and little kids in it. They're both from Grand Prairie, 2 of the illegals, but these are sick pukes that Joe Biden led into this country. There is a story. Let's take a brief respite and go to Jazzy Crockett. This is great. This woman, that's not great. This woman is lying still about the Haitian illegals and lying to Trump that the Border Patrol agents whipped him. And Joe Biden and Kamala never apologized. They despise law enforcement. And here's Jazzy Crockett to continue the lie that Haitians were whipped by Border Patrol agents. They never whipped them at all. Those are riding reins. Here we go.
And the final point that I typically make is around understanding the root causes of migration. If people will remember...
She understands the root causes of migration. Why don't you call Kamala?
There were a lot of people that said that Vice President Harris was the border czar, and that wasn't really her title, but she was given some responsibilities as it relates to the border, and it was more so to understand root causes of migration. So the example that I usually use specifically in Texas is when the Haitians showed up at our border, there were these images of officers on horseback that were beating Haitians back into the water.
Beat you, Haitian, beat you. They didn't touch him. Oh my gosh, this woman, great big fat liar.
And I was like, no one ever asked the question of why are the Haitians showing up at our border? And
why doesn't Jessica Tarloff on a show called Raging Moderates correct her when she knows that's false?
Said if they would have asked that question, they would have found out that their government had been overthrown and that it was gang members that were running their country.
Well, that's interesting because remember Trump said it's an S-hole country in his first term. And remember what Frederica, what's her name? Frederica, whatever, the Democrat from Houston, I can't remember her last name, but she came out and said that Trump is racist. How dare you say it's an S-hole country? Trump said he's removing temporary protective status for Haitians. A judge said, no, you can't, a liberal judge. We'll see if that plays out. I hope he wins. I think he will. But here she is. What's her name from Houston? I'll pull it up real fast. Frederica something. Frederica Houston Congresswoman. I forget her name. There it is, Frederica Wilson. So Frederica Wilson said Trump was racist for saying S-hole country, but now that Trump's trying to get the Haitians taken out from temporary protective status, she comes out and says it's an S-hole country.
And they are terrorized. They are terrorized. Haitian nationals. This is cruelty, this is inhumane, and this is a death sentence. Because we already know the consequences. Because in Haiti, there's open warfare and rape. There's ravaging violence against women and children. There are no school days, no work schedule. You do what the gangs want you to do.
I am so glad that Frederica Wilson, Democrat from Houston, is finally telling the truth that Haiti, in fact, is an S-hole country. And by the way, one of our dearest friends that we've been friends with for 20 years. Her first name is Daly. She and her mom are from Haiti, and her dad. Her dad is still alive. She lives with her dad in Queens, New York. Her mom passed away a couple years ago. Her mom was amazing because they all came to visit, and her mom came with her. And her mom's from Haiti, and she's got that deep Haitian accent. And her friend Daly was born and raised in Haiti. She came here at 15. She says it is an S-hole country. It is satanic. And she says every time there's an earthquake and people die, she literally says this. She says, good, because they're devil worshippers. She's a devout Christian, like I am. She whooped her kids' asses a lot when the kids were goofing around. And my kids were like, my wife would say, look, you better be grateful that she's not your mom because she whipped the crap out of those kids. But in a proper way, but nonetheless. She lost her son to a freak incident with a heart problem that happened when he was at karate in New York. And she's a member of the Brooklyn what is that famous church, Brooklyn Tabernacle? And we got to go for the funeral to support her, love her, and help set up things for the funeral. And afterwards, it was a celebration of life at that legendary park in Queens where that globe designed art is. And the one of the was it the New York Yankees play? No, they're in the Bronx. The other team, the Mets, I guess, and then also the tennis open, the Open, U.S. Open, right there. It was smell of weed was everywhere. It's so stupid, but so we were there for her and to love her and her children and everything. It was just terrible. But she says that Haiti is an S-hole country too. But I'm glad that Frederica Wilson finally admits it's an S-hole country. Jelly Roll, I'm suspect. Like I know he what he said about Jesus is true, and I hope it's 110%. But he comes across to me. I'm not trying to be negative, but he comes across to me as a Hollywood type with, there's some things I've read about him with issues, and his wife is a porn star thing. I don't know all the truth. I'm not trying to say anything bad, but I'm always suspect. But I do like what he said the other day. But what happened is this. So I'm not trying to attack the guy. Don't get all mad at me. But I did like what he said compared to everybody else. But this also came out I didn't catch this first time, but he took a picture with Kristi Noem, and it was on her social media and such. They were on the plane together or something like that. And so it came back out now. So Jelly Roll's hanging out with Kristi Noem thinking she's awesome. That's Satan to the rest of those people over there. So that's great. He was asked about it at the Grammys, and he's like, I don't follow things, man. I'm not on my cell phone for like 12 months straight. I don't care. So he appears to be one of us, and if so, God bless you, dude. The Tongva tribe, remember this Billie Eilish and her pathetic fake statement? She lives on stolen land from the Tongva tribe. They have now spoken out, but here we go.
No one is illegal on stolen land. And yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really...
It's not hard to figure out what to say and do. Give the Tongva tribe, back their freaking land. You stole it. Let your house be a rec center for the Tongvans.
Hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter, and I say sorry.
Well, I mean, that's great, but the Tongvan tribe, as you see there, they're standing there holding up their signs, I am on Tongva land. They released a statement today. They've confirmed that Billie Eilish's home is indeed situated on its ancestral land, and she's not yet reached out to them regarding her home. Quote, we appreciate the opportunity to provide clarity regarding the recent comments made by Billie Eilish, the tribe says. As the first people of the greater Los Angeles basin, we do understand that her home is situated in our ancestral land. Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property. So, Billy, you're on stolen land, and you literally freaking bought a home on stolen. Give them their freaking property back. Let it be a rec center for the Tongvan people. You stole their freaking land, you white lady. You stole their land. Stop enslaving and stealing from people of color and the Native American peoples, and give them their land back. I'm sure there's a nice pool. There is a pool. You can see the picture. Here. Let's flip it back.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
All right, so look at that. There's a pool there, guys. That could easily be turned into a Tongvan rec center, the Tongvan tribe. So let's do it, guys. What do you say? Give them their freaking land back so they can have a rec center for their peoples. Unbelievable. Other Tongvan homeless people, give them that place for homeless shelter and a rec center at the same time. Unbelievable what she's doing with their land. This is it. I tell you, I've told you guys for years, for 15 years on the radio, and now I'm telling you in my podcast. Don't ever, if your car breaks down or stalls or runs out of gas on the highway, tell us to your daughter, tell us to your wife, tell us to your son, tell us to your husband. If your car stalls or runs out of gas or anything on the highway, and by the way, I didn't make this up. This is Trooper Lonnie Haschel. To the best of my knowledge, he's still a Texas State Trooper. This applies to anyone, anywhere. If you have to pull over or your car breaks down or you run out of gas on the side of a highway, do not stay in that car. Don't get out of the car, but don't stay in that car. Get on the other side of the median, because people die all the frickin' time. And I always mention this to you when it's in the news, and it's in the news again. And actually, this is really crazy. This police officer made a big mistake, and I'm not going to blame him. I'm going to blame the person. As horrible as that sounds, blame the person who hit them and the person who was hit, because you don't stay on the side of the road outside of the car, let alone in the car. You don't. You get out of the car. You get on the other side of the median, because you'll die. And here we go. This happened this is in the news today, February 3rd. Stranded driver waiting for a cop to bring them gas, hit and killed on Texas Interstate. Hillsboro on Interstate 35, waiting for a cop to bring them gas to their stranded vehicle. Driver ran out of gas, was waiting for a cop to help them to get more, died after being struck by a vehicle, Hillsboro police say, from Channel 8 WFAA TV, where I used to do editorials for about 6 years. The officer offered to buy gas and return so they could make it home. The officer should have put them in their squad. Think about that, how bad that officer feels. While the officer was getting gas, should have been with the person. Other drivers called emergency services. See this? They're smart. Other drivers called emergency services with concerns about a person standing near the freaking roadway. When the officer returned with the gas, they found the person had been hit by a vehicle. The officer immediately called for EMS, started life-saving measures. Person died. That's it. All right. Remember this, and I'll see you for tomorrow's podcast. Mark Davis, my friend and fellow talk show host. Whoops, hold on. I'm hitting buttons here all over the place. Try that. There we go. My friend Mark Davis, fellow broadcaster, is going to join me tomorrow to talk about Texas Senate District 9, which we lost. Republicans lost in Tarrant County, and I liked what he had to say, what I heard he said, and read what he said in the papers. So Mark's going to join me tomorrow. Live we go at 4:30 p.m. Central, 5:30 Eastern tomorrow. This is a national story about this Texas Senate race. We're going to break it down for you, Mark and I. So watch it here. And I think the best place to do it is by following me on YouTube and Rumble at Croc Talk. That's at KROKTALK right on your screen there. Or YouTube at Croc Talk Radio, KROKTALK Radio. All right, 4:30 tomorrow Central, 5:30 Eastern. You can also access it through my Twitter, Facebook, etc. But those are the best ways. And here we go. This show was brought to you by IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Randy Martin's my guy, and he should